Hey there, my name's Carol. I'm 62 years old. Almost a year ago, I woke up in an ambulance, thanks to my now daughter-in-law, and today I want to tell you about it. Let me give you some background information on my son and his ex-wife. I have two kids, an older son named Abel and a younger daughter named Ruth. When the kids were 15 and 11 respectively, I lost my husband to cancer. It was a devastating time for all of us, but I made sure that my relationship with my kids did not suffer because of my grief. I made sure to check in on them at all times, and I made sure that we all spent quality family time every day. It was not forced, but after suffering the loss of their father, they appreciated all the time that they could spend with me. Anyway, what that turned into was a very strong bond between the three of us. Even when the kids got older, they remained within a couple of miles away from me because they wanted to be able to spend time with me. I loved it, especially because it meant that I didn't have to worry about being so alone. About 7 years ago, I had a minor heart attack and my kids got overly concerned about me. It was especially scary because I was home alone and I had no one to help me out. After that, my daughter, Ruth, decided that she'd take me into her place because she didn't want me to have another scare and be alone. I appreciated that a lot. But that decision did not come easy. You see, my son, Abel, and Ruth fought over who would take me in because they both wanted me to stay with them. But the fight didn't go on for too long because my daughter-in-law, Brianna, refused to let me stay at her and my son's house. A little about my son and daughter-in-law. They met when they were in college and began dating almost as soon as they met each other. Right after they graduated, Brianna got pregnant with my grandson, Reuben, so Abel and Brianna got married. Before Brianna got pregnant, I didn't know her too well, but I didn't mind that because I saw that she made my son happy. However, after Reuben was born, I began to spend more time with Abel and Brianna. I only did that because they were young parents and they had no clue how to go about doing anything related to childcare. Plus, Abel asked me to help and I was not going to refuse him. Anyway, from the start itself, I knew that Brianna didn't like me. Initially, she never did or said anything to me, but I could just feel her dislike towards me. I tried to get to know her better, but she always brushed me off or ignored me. As the years passed, I grew very close to my grandson, Reuben. Reuben developed a love for board games and classic literature, both of which are my favorites too. So Reuben would ask to spend time with me a lot. I didn't mind that, but I could tell that it was bothering Brianna. I tried to get Abel to talk about it with Brianna since she wouldn't let me even get a word out to her. But even Abel couldn't tell me much about why she didn't like me. So around New Year, one particular year, I decided to talk to Brianna about her feelings. I wanted to start the new year off on a good note, so at our New Year dinner party, I pulled her to the side. "Hey, Brianna, can we talk?" "What is it? Do you need me to do something?" "No, I just want to have a conversation with you." "Cut the nonsense, Carol, and just tell me what you want, all right?" "This is what I wanted to talk about. Is there a reason that you're so mean to me?" "What?" "You're really rude and disrespectful to me, and I've noticed that it's only me. I've kept my mouth shut for years, but with the new year approaching, I kind of want to right all my wrongs. Could you tell me why you don't like me?" "Are you seriously asking me that?" Yes. I've been trying to think of why you've held such a deep-seated grudge against me for so many years. I can't seem to think of anything. So I would like it if you just told me directly." "You really don't know what you've been doing?" "I really don't." Ever since Reuben was born, you've been trying to steal my place from the family. What? No, I haven't. Of course you're not going to own up to what you've been doing because you just cannot seem to read the room and see what you're actually doing. Brianna, I have no idea what you're talking about. After Reuben's birth, suddenly you had to come over more often. Now we have family game nights because Reuben just has to see you often. Abel is even happier because you're here a lot more often. These are things my boys are supposed to be happy about because they involve me. I didn't mean to intrude on your family in any way, Brianna. Reuben and I just have a good relationship. And I have a good relationship with Abel as well. Just because they appreciate my presence in their lives, it doesn't mean yours is any less important. That's easy for you to say, but you aren't living my life. You've been ruining my life since the start, but I kept my mouth shut because I didn't want Abel to think I was crazy. But after Reuben's birth, I wanted nothing to do with you. Abel won't listen to a word I'm saying, and I can't seem to break Reuben away from you. I'm really sorry that I've made you feel that way. If there's any way that I can make you feel better, leave me and my family alone. I don't want to see you ever again. Brianna, I can't do that. I love Abel and Reuben, so I can't just leave them because you feel insecure. I'll do anything else I can to help you feel better. There's nothing else to say then. Brianna, please, let's talk this out. This is putting strain on everyone. That strain will go when you finally leave us all. I was honestly shocked when I found out that that was Brianna's issue with me. I couldn't understand why she thought I was trying to steal her life. But I thought that even though I didn't understand, I'd do my best to make her feel better. So over the next few years, I made sure to compliment Brianna both in private and in front of our family. I was very enthusiastic about organizing things for Brianna's birthday, and I made sure that both Reuben and Abel got her presents that she'd like. I went above and beyond to make sure she knew that she was loved and appreciated by the family. I even cut down my visits to Abel's house because I wanted Brianna to feel good. But none of that worked. Brianna continued to treat me the same way, if not slightly worse. I'd kept Brianna's issue with me a secret because I didn't want Abel to fight with her about it. But I guess she told him herself because she was suddenly very open with her dislike for me. She'd make snide remarks at my expense and scoff whenever I complimented her. She'd refuse to eat the food I made and would always try to take Reuben away from me if I spent too much time with him. I tried my best to make her stop seeing me as an enemy, but eventually I made peace with the fact that she was always going to view me that way. What I did do instead was make sure to not let that affect my relationship with my son and grandson. As more years passed, I grew closer to Abel and Reuben, but Brianna remained as cold and distant as ever. Abel would apologize to me on her behalf, but I would tell him not to because there was nothing for him to apologize for. Time passed like that, and everybody just accepted that things would remain that way. Anyway, cut to more present times, my daughter, Ruth, had to go on a month-long training for work in another state. That meant that I'd be home alone again, and while the thought was a little scary, it had been a few years since my health scare, so I wasn't too worried about it. I was home alone for around 5 days when Abel called me out of the blue in the afternoon. "Hi, Mom." "Hi, darling. How are you doing? Is everything all right?" "Yes, of course. I was just calling to check in on you because Ruth is away and you're alone at home." "I'm okay, but I guess it's a little lonely." "Yeah, I figured that was the case, and that was why I called you. I wanted to ask you if you wanted to come and stay with us." "I don't know if that's such a good idea." "Why?" "I mean, you're going to have company here, plus Reuben would love to spend some more time with you." I know, but Brianna and I don't exactly have the best relationship, you know that. I'm sure she won't mind. Did you at least run this idea of yours by her? Not really, but I've dealt with her calling her parents over to stay with us out of the blue, so I'm sure she won't mind this either. I mean, you're old, not in the best of health, and all alone at home. That should warrant some concern. You're right, but I don't want this to cause any harm to your relationship. Mom, you worry too much. I promise you nothing bad will happen, and even if it does, I'll take care of it. I know Brianna well enough to know how to get her to stop being upset. Yeah, but what if she does something to me? She's never stopped herself from being mean to me, but what if me coming to stay with her throws her off the edge or something? Mom, I mean this in the nicest way, but you sound kind of crazy. Brianna would never hurt you, but since you're worried about it, I promise you that I'll do my best to make sure nothing happens to you. And if something happens, I'll deal with Brianna accordingly. Still, do you not want to come over? Because you can just say that. You don't have to make excuses. I was just looking out for you. Oh no, sweetie, I'm not trying to make excuses. I'm really touched by your concern, and I'm so glad that you thought of me like this. You know what? I'll take you up on your offer. Really? That's great. Ruben is going to be so happy to spend time with you. I'm excited to spend time with him too. I'll come and pick you up in the afternoon tomorrow at around 3. All right. Thank you again for offering to let me stay with you. Of course, you're my mother and I want to take care of you. Take care, Mom. You too, sweetie. I wasn't too keen about staying with Abel, but I also appreciated him thinking of me a lot. Plus, I really did not want to be alone for an entire month, so I figured I'd stay with him only for a week or so. I don't know why I felt like it was a bad idea, like Brianna was going to do something, but I let it go. The next day, Abel picked me up, and when I got to the house, Brianna had locked herself in her bedroom. I asked Abel how she'd reacted to me coming over, and he said that she was mad, but that she'd get over it. I didn't like that reasoning, but I didn't want to impose my views on him, so I let it go. Abel, Ruben, and I spent the rest of the day enjoying each other's company, playing board games and watching movies. Brianna barely acknowledged me, and I felt like that was better than her snarling at me constantly. The next day, Abel had gone to work and Ruben went to school. I was alone at home with Brianna, and I was a little worried, but I convinced myself that I was being paranoid. Around the afternoon, I decided to take a shower, so I approached Brianna and asked if I could borrow a towel. Brianna, could I have a towel? I want to take a shower. Yeah, here. Where are you going to shower? In the bathroom next to my room. Is there a problem with that? The plumbing isn't working properly. Really? Are you accusing me of lying to you? No, I mean, I believe you, but what's wrong with the plumbing? If you must know everything that's happening in my house, the hot water isn't working right there. You have to use the spare bathroom on this floor. The small one? Yeah, the bathroom in our room is a mess, and it's not right to use Ruben's when he's not home. That's the only option you have. Maybe I should just wait until Ruben comes home. I'm sure he wouldn't mind. No, just take a shower there. I promise you it's the best bathroom because the water pressure is really good. You can be out in 5 minutes. I'll keep watch outside the bathroom if you want. I don't want to trouble you. Nonsense. It's no trouble. Come on, let's go. All right. You know how the shower works, right? Yeah, of course. Just show me that you know how to work the taps. All right. This one's cold. Hold on. Brianna, what are you doing? Just stay in there. I don't want to hear any more of you. You understand? Did you lock this door? Brianna, open this door right now, please. No, I'm sick and tired of you ruling over my family. I know you told Abel to let you live here. You just always have to intrude. I swear I didn't do that. Abel called me himself and invited me. Why do you always have to lie? I'm not. I swear, Brianna, please, I'm begging you, let me out. If you want me to go, I'll leave right away. Good. You're definitely leaving here, but I can't let you leave without teaching you a lesson. Brianna, I'm severely claustrophobic. Please let me out. I don't care. You need to learn to not intrude on my family. Once you're out of there, you're never going to mess with us. I promise I'll leave right now. Call me a cab and I swear I'll be out before you know it. Just let me out. Oh, you know what? I just remembered that I have to go grocery shopping right now if I want to have dinner made in time for Abel and Reuben. I have to go. Sit tight, Carol. Brianna, don't leave me. Brianna, hello? I kept calling out to her. I got no response back. I felt panic taking over me. I kept yelling out for her and hoping that she hadn't actually left me. I didn't hear the front door close, but I was yelling so much, I didn't know if I'd missed it. All I knew was that I needed to get out of that bathroom because it was really small and I felt like the walls were closing in on me. When I eventually realized that Brianna was not coming back and that I was truly left home alone, locked in a small bathroom, I began to panic even more. I tried to figure out a way to escape the bathroom, but the door was jammed shut and wouldn't open no matter how much I pulled it. I'm an old woman and I barely have much strength, so breaking the door open was not something I could have done either. At some point, I got tired of yelling for help and trying to unlock the door, so I put the lid of the toilet down and sat on it. I tried to control my breathing, but the more I looked around the small bathroom, the harder it got to breathe. I remember my vision beginning to tunnel and beginning to feel faint, but what happened after that, I have no idea. When I eventually woke up, I was in an ambulance with Reuben beside me. He looked relieved to see me awake, but my head was pounding. When I finally managed to speak, I asked him what had happened. What happened? Where am I? You're in an ambulance, Grandma. You fainted because your arrhythmia got really bad, but you're okay now. Oh, are you all right? I hope you're not too worried. The EMTs told me that you'd be fine, so I'm not really worried. I am worried about what's going to happen between Mom and Dad now, though. Gosh, how long was I in that bathroom? How did I get out? You were in there for about 2 hours. I happened to notice that you were missing and the bathroom door was locked. Mom was out, so I put 2 and 2 together and called Dad and 911. Dad reached here just as the EMTs broke open the bathroom door and tried to revive you. I'm sorry Dad and I didn't get to you earlier. Sweetie, you have nothing to apologize for. I know that if either of you were there, you would have taken care of me. Yeah, Dad was beating himself up about it. I bet, but there's nothing for you to feel sorry about, okay? Yes, Mom, there's my boy. Where's Abel anyway? Dad's on his way, but apparently him and Mom got into a huge fight. What did Brianna say? She thought that we were making a big deal out of nothing and that you'd make us pay for the ambulance ride or something. Why does Mom hate you so much, Grandma? Did something happen between the two of you? It beats me, sweetie. I've been trying to repair our relationship for years, but your mother is just very stubborn. I mean, there must have been something, right? Something must have happened for my mom to hate you so much. I've been trying my best to recollect if I did anything to Brianna, but I really can't remember anything. I've asked your dad to talk to her and tell me what her issue is with me, and she didn't tell him anything, other than she thinks that I'm stealing her place in the family. What? That sounds insane. Yeah, that's what I said too. I tried to show her that her place in the family was very much valued, but that didn't change anything. So she risked your life by locking you in a bathroom for hours because she was jealous? Dad is definitely not going to be okay with any of this. We may have to come to stay with you. Oh, I hope this does not destroy Abel and Brianna's marriage. The last thing I want is to be the reason for their breakup, especially because you'll be struggling a lot then. I don't think I'll be struggling. I much prefer my dad, and I'm sure I'll get to choose who I want to live with. Anyway, how about we stop talking about this right now? We've almost reached there. Could you do me a favor and not tell Dad about our conversation? Of course, sweetie. We reached the hospital shortly after that. The doctors ran a few tests on me to make sure that my heart was fine. In the middle of all of that happening, Abel came rushing into the ER. He looked terrified, but when he saw me looking alive and fine, he calmed down. He kept asking me if I was okay, and after asking me for the 10th time, he finally believed that I was doing okay. Thankfully, my reports also said the same thing, but the doctor advised me to stay for one night so that they could monitor me. Abel and I thought it would be best for me to stay there for the night. Abel offered to stay the night with me, but I told him to go back home and feed Reuben some proper food. Abel told me that he didn't feel like going home and asked if they could crash at Ruth's place instead. Of course, I gave them the keys, and after they made sure I was settled in, they left to go back. I slept pretty soundly that night, and when I woke up the next morning, Abel was already standing by my side. He told me that he'd be dropping me back home and that Reuben would be staying with me for a few days because he needed to get some things straightened out with Brianna. I told him to take it easy on her, but he told me that he had to be blunt with her because he was tired of her treating me badly for so long. I didn't intrude much because I figured it was not my place to say anything more. I was glad that I got to spend time with Reuben, who seemed a little lost in thought. He later confided in me that when he saw me lying unconscious on the floor, he thought that I had passed, and it scared him really badly. He cried for a good while, and it made my heart break. I consoled him the best I could and did everything I could to reassure him that I wasn't leaving to go anywhere for a long time. A few days later, Abel came over to pick Reuben up. He seemed calmer than the last time he saw me. I asked him what he'd done or said to Brianna, but he just told me that he had done what needed to be done. Once again, I didn't push him for more information, but then, only a day later, Brianna showed up at my door. Oh, hello, Brianna. Do you know what my husband and son have done because of you? What happened? They've ruined my life, and it's all because of you. Excuse me? How do I factor into any of this? You were the one who just had to make a big deal out of being locked in. I fainted. How did I make a big deal out of it? Oh, come on. Who just faints like that? You were barely in there for long. Brianna, I'm very claustrophobic, and the anxiety of that made my heart almost give up. I did not make a big deal. You've always had it out for me, haven't you? You're just jealous that I got to have a better life than you did. I have nothing against you. Whatever happened to you? I have no idea why you're so mad at me. I lost my job. I lost the respect of all my friends and family, and most importantly, I lost my husband and son. They don't want to be around me anymore, and Abel asked me to move out by the end of this month. What? Are you finally happy now? You got what you've always wanted. Brianna, I have done nothing but my best to make you feel like I was not trying to take your place. I let every mean thing you did against me go because I didn't want to ruin our already fragile relationship. I didn't even yell or confront you about you locking me up in your bathroom. Why would I be happy about this? You're the one that's had it in her head that I want it out for you. Because you have. Why did Abel and Reuben always want to spend time with you then? You were feeding them lies about me so that they would hate me. You need to stop thinking Abel and Reuben are stupid. Abel was old enough to know right from wrong, so even if I was talking bad about you, his wife, whom he adored, he would know better than to hate you over that. And if Reuben so much as tried to show dislike towards you because of me, Abel would have approached me and told me off. You brainwashed them. I didn't do anything to them. I really am sorry that you spent all this time thinking that, and that you're suffering right now, but I can tell you that I played no role in any of this. I did my best to be a good mother and grandmother. I get that you're very insecure, but you can't put that on me. You need to take this time to figure out your issues and then move on. I will prove that I'm right. Goodbye, Brianna. Take care. I didn't know what Brianna thought she was going to prove, but I knew for a fact that I did nothing wrong to her or to my son and grandson. I never tried to get in their way or disrupt their family. And even if I was doing that, why did Brianna think that the best way to put me in my place was to lock me up in a small space and leave me there? Brianna's lucky that I haven't pressed charges against her, but I was curious about what Reuben and Abel had done to make her so mad. After I was sure that Brianna left my porch, I called Abel and asked him what had happened. Abel told me that he had done what he had promised me. He dealt with Brianna because she'd harmed me. At first, he didn't give me the details of what this dealing included. But after I prodded him a little more, he opened up and told me. After I got discharged from the hospital, Abel went back home and confronted Brianna about what she'd done to me. He'd recorded the conversation and got her to confess that she'd locked me, someone with a heart problem and severe claustrophobia, in a small bathroom because she did not like me. Now, Brianna worked as a nurse. I know you'd expect her to be more understanding of my condition, but she wasn't. So Abel sent the recording of her confession to her superiors, along with my medical bills and my doctor's report from the day, as further proof of Brianna's negligent behavior. Her superiors did not like that and fired her. To add further insult to injury, Reuben told everyone about what she'd done to me, including his maternal grandparents, Brianna's parents, and they were horrified and disgusted with her behavior and refused to help her out when she went to them to ask for help, since she was getting divorced and had no job. I did feel a little bad for Brianna, but I also knew that this was better than whatever she'd face if I pressed charges against her. I mostly only felt bad for Reuben because I felt like I was somehow responsible for breaking his family up. But both Abel and Reuben assured me that that was not the case. They'd been tired of the way Brianna had been treating me, and they told her many times to stop. Her hurting me was the last straw for them. Abel realized that he did not want to be with someone who could so easily put someone else in harm's way just because they were jealous or angry with the other person. Reuben told me that he'd never really developed a bond with his mother because she never spent any time with him. So even though she was not going to be around as much, he wasn't going to miss her. It's been almost a year since all of this went down, and Abel and Brianna have finally divorced. Brianna made the divorce a nightmare for Abel because she chose to fight for every little thing. And eventually, she ran out of money to pay her lawyer, so they settled the division of their assets outside of court. I haven't heard much about Brianna, but I do know that she moved to another state because she struggled to find a job in ours. She's still struggling from what some relatives have told me, and it makes me a little happy to know that. I hope that she learns a lesson in compassion and kindness from this and goes on to become a better person. As for Abel, Reuben, and I, we're all really happy now, happier even with Brianna out of the picture. Reuben comes over every weekend to play board games with me, and Abel comes over every few days to check in on me. Life's going well, and I couldn't be more glad about it.